What about Destiny? It's supposed to be a huge game. There's talk that Activision is investing $500 million to make it and market it. Big new IP. Both of you didn't mention it as the game to play. You think is that going to be a big disruptive force? I mean, I know you guys had a preview on Kotaku, which was not necessarily glowing of it. What's your take on Destiny?
Well, I think the problem there was just based on I didn't personally see that part of the preview, but
Right.
I think the problem there was that they showed an aspect of their game that was more like arena based and just sort of.
Right.
The normal course of like any shooter, so it was possibly the most boring thing you could show of the game, is my theory. So I think that there's a lot to be discovered there, and I'm still excited for it. I mean, it sounds like I'm a Bungie fan. I like shooting things. It sounds like a little bit of Borderlands, a little bit of MMO-ish. So it's a lot of things that are up my alley actually. So I still have hope for it. And I think at E3 they're probably going to have a better showing than they did at that
I'm
preview
sure.
event.
Yeah, I mean that's a
Destiny's
big game.
been kind of a long line of bad showings at this point,
Right.
like weird trips to talk about Paul McCartney and stuff like that.
Did you guys go out? I didn't go up to the press event.
No,
Okay.
this newer one, no. We went to that first one where they had absolutely nothing.
Right.
So yeah, but I mean, got to check it out last year for a while at E3, and I think it plays pretty well. I think it seems pretty sharp. So
Yeah, I
I'm
don't
thinking
think
of,
the
like-
problem is there at all.
yeah, I think it'll
It's gonna be a solid
Yeah, I
game,
think it'll be
it's
solid.
just-
Like, is it going to be some $500 million like new IP blow you away kind of thing?
Yeah, is it going
I
to be
don't know
changing
about
the
that,
space at
but-
all? Is it that whole shared world shooter? Like
Right.
they've been pushing that new genre.
Well, we can kind of break it down as like it's Borderlands, but like a little bit of Halo, and it's more like a higher player count.
Well, that's the thing is, I think
areas.
those types of things, it's going to take people playing not just for 2 hours, but like 20 hours to really see it. Does that all really pay off to you and your friends?
Right.
Where can you explore? Because even to me, it's like knowing how many planets there are, what ships on day one, and even understanding like what their plan is over these 10 years of like rolling out. Is it new planets or what's the monetization scheme? And they've sort of said we're not really treating it like a free-to-play game. But yeah, there's a lot of unknowns with that game. But I think at least in terms of big launches this year, we know that's supposedly coming in September. Because a lot of their games seem to be slipping into the future. So it's
But also, I look at that and it's not a competitive game, and I
Right.
think that the games that we tend to look at as the top tier huge announcements, it ends up being Call of Duty or things that are designed to compete with Call of Duty.
Right.
And Destiny is very much not that.
Right.
It's very kind of focused on the co-op and stuff, and that's maybe a little more up my alley these days. Like I think it'll probably end up being a really solid game, but in terms of just like it's hard to think about it in that context because it's just been the Call of Duty train for the last 5 or 6 years. So maybe hopefully we're kind of getting out of that mentality.
No, and even the Advanced Warfare seems that that first trailer looked really good. I haven't seen it running live yet, and it's people were hyped about that. So at all the other games, I mean, there's there's Batman, there's Witcher, there's Metal Gear, there's Assassin's Creed. I mean, there's lots of stuff that's going to be at E3. Anything else that you guys are particularly?
Cyberpunk 2077.
You think is that going to be there?
I think that they're booking stuff for that. I'm not sure, but I would hope that they would have more to say about that. I know some people are definitely excited about The Witcher, but
CD Projekt Red does great stuff.
I've always been more of a cyberspace kind of guy.
Yep.
So
yeah, if they are
interested
showing,
to
that
hear
would be great. But we haven't heard much of anything from them, so I wouldn't be surprised if they weren't even ready to
If
be
they
there
just
yet.
focus on Witcher.
Yeah, because that's their big title. So I'm sure
Look
they
at
want
this
to draw
battle.
the
Is CG
attention.
Project Red showing? Tina says no. Jeff says.
Oh man, I hope it's
We'll
there.
see.
I hope it's there.
Yeah, I certainly hope so too. But you never know.
What else is on your booking sheet though that you are excited to see, Tina?
I mean, that's the problem. Is I think that most of the exciting stuff out there is not being talked about, isn't announced
Right.
yet. Because everything's a sequel to something or something like that, and it hasn't been too exciting. It's been a smaller show.
yeah.
I feel like every year E3 is just getting smaller.
The
and smaller.
conversation about games is changing rapidly. I mean, we think about E3, we think about it in terms of these huge, we talk about $500 million as it relates to Destiny, but like, there's also this indie game store, and those games are happening all the time.
Yeah.
Those happen on their own schedule.
I think so. That's some of the most exciting stuff is like what's happening in the indie space. And you're right. You look at E3 and it's like, how much are kind of apps or smaller games going to be there? And that to me actually is part of the question about E3 is like, are we going to see a big free-to-play push like from PlayStation or Xbox or way more games, more accessibility?
It'll be on those guys to get these indie games on the E3 stage because they can't afford booth space of their own.
Right.
Just E3 is just not set up to promote smaller games.
Yeah.
So that's the sort of stuff when I think about like the overall relevance of E3. Like it feels diminished with the way the games are changing.
All right, well, we will see it all go down. Maybe there'll be some surprises. Hopefully there will be.
Hopefully.
And we'll see you guys.
Maybe they'll just cancel it and we'll be back on the beach in Santa Monica at
done.
hotel suites for
E3's,
E3
they're going to
next
watch
year.
this and say, Jeff,
And it's like,
you're depressing us. Well, we have your secret game that has to be announced. So we need at least E3 for that, right?
Pretty excited.
You pretty sure it's going to be announced at E3?
Pretty sure.
Pretty sure. All right.
Pretty sure.
All right.
Better be.
Teasing people.
It'd be a
like
real
crazy.
bummer if it's not, man.
I don't know what you're talking about. But all right. That's it for the bonus round. We'll see you guys live at E3 starting Monday, June 9th, right here on GT and Spike. Our coverage begins at noon Eastern, 9 a.m. Pacific. We've got a full day of press conferences and demos and lots of other surprises and special guests. We hope to see you guys then.